Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you everything they need to know of how to defeat an adversary in Warframe. If you've never heard the word adversary before, it just refers to the Kuva Liches and the Sisters of Parvos. It's the umbrella term that's used to describe them, but it's very rarely used in game. The best way that I can describe an adversary is if your high school bully was part of the mafia. So they steal your stuff, they say mean things to you, and they try to kill you, like a lot. And they have people that try to kill you also. Since there's two types of adversaries, the Kuva Liches and the Sisters of Parvos, there are a few differences between them, but most of it remains the same overall, so I'm going to try to cover everything related to both of them. Before you can even get an adversary, there's some important things that you have to do beforehand. First, you have to complete both the War Within and the Call of the Tempestari. Next, you'll need to at least have one intrinsic at rank 5. And you'll ideally want to have a properly built Railjack and at least one of each Requiem mod. If you don't know what Requiem mods are, I'll cover that later on in the video, so don't worry. Once you have all the things I just mentioned, the next important question is what Warframe you're going to bring into the mission. The Warframe that you use during the creation of your adversary is going to affect a lot of things. It's going to affect the abilities the adversary has, the elemental bonus on their weapon, and the type of ephemera that they have if they have one. All the Warframes in the game are grouped into 7 different elements, and these elements are what affects the things that I just mentioned. You should be seeing a table on screen that shows which Warframes are under what element, and I'll post a link in the description to the wiki so you can see what element future frames fall under. You can choose whatever element that you want, but the most popular choices are normally heat and toxic. You can always change this later, so if you don't like the element that you chose, you can just change it. Once you've made your Warframe choice, it's now time to actually create the adversary. When creating an adversary, it's better to do it solo, since only one adversary candidate can spawn per mission, and only the person that downs it is allowed to create an adversary. I'm going to cover how to create a Kuva Lich first, because it's a lot easier than creating a Sister of Parvos. A Kuva Lich can be created on any Grineer mission that's level 20+. All you need to do is once you enter the mission, you just need to wait for the screen to flicker, and then you have a minute to kill at least 10 enemies, which will cause a Kuva Larvalin to spawn. Once a Larvalin spawns, you just need to down it and mercy it to complete the creation of your Kuva Lich. Before you mercy it, there's going to be an icon above its head that shows what weapon you'll get if you create this Kuva Lich. If you don't like the weapon that you see, you can always just repeat the mission and get a new weapon. After you mercy it and it does the animation, you just need to return to your orbiter, and then there'll be a pop-up that shows the name of your Lich, and a button will appear next to the Nightwave button where you can see more information about your Lich. And that's how you create a Kuva Lich. Now I'll be teaching you how to create a sister. This one is pretty easy, so all you need is a mommy and a daddy, and then you have to ask them really hard, and you have to constantly pester them that you want a sister, and then after 9 months, boom, you have a sister. So the actual way that you create a sister is you need to complete at least tier 1 of the Nightmare Granum Void, which requires you to have 25 kills. After you do this, a sister candidate will spawn in the mission. The Granum Void can only be found by interacting with the Golden Hands on Corpus Ship tilesets, and in order to access it, you need a Granum Crown, which drops from Treasurers on Corpus Ship missions also. Treasurers are a special Corpus enemy that only spawn after 3 to 4 minutes in non-endless missions, and after 5 to 8 minutes in endless missions. The type of crown that they drop depends on the level of the mission. In order to get a crown to access the Nightmare Granum Void, you need to complete a mission with level 31 or higher enemies. I have a video about this that should be linked in the card above and in the description below that gives more information, but basically you just need to go into a Corpus Ship mission that has level 31 or higher enemies. You need to wait for the treasure to spawn, kill him, get the Granum Crown, enter the Nightmare Granum Void, and then complete tier 1, and after you've done that, then the sister candidate will spawn. I'd advise you to not enter the Granum Void near extraction, because sometimes if you do that, it will prevent the sister candidate from spawning. Once the sister candidate spawns, you just need to down it and then mercy it, and that will complete the creation of your Sister of Parvos. Once again, the weapon that they have will be displayed above their head, so if you don't like the weapon that is shown, you just have to repeat the mission and complete the Granum Void once again to get a new sister candidate. And when you exit the mission, it's going to show a pop-up of the name of your sister, and you click on the button next to your Nightwave to see more details about them. And that's all for the creation of your adversary. Now I'll show you what you do next. So your adversary can only be killed after you've found the perfect combination of Requiem Mods. Requiem Mods are special Parazon mods that are currently used to kill your adversary. There's currently 9 of them in total, but the function of the last one is to mimic any of the previous 8. So there's really 8 of them in total, but 9. You can get the 8 original Requiem mods by unlocking Requiem relics and Requiem fissures. That's a lot of Requiems, but yeah. You can get Requiem relics by completing Kuva Flood or Kuva Siphon missions, or by Mercy and Kuva Thralls or Sisters of Parvos Hounds. The Kuva Flood is guaranteed to give a Requiem relic, while Siphons have a 50% chance, and the Hounds and Thralls have a 5% chance. You have a 25% chance to get the last Requiem mod Ool whenever you correctly guess the Requiem sequence of your current adversary. All the Requiem mods are tradable, so if you don't want to go through the grind, you can always just buy it directly from another player. So like I mentioned earlier, you need to guess the correct sequence of Requiem mods in order to kill your adversary. There's 3 mods in the sequence, and there's 8 total mods, so if you did the math, you would know that there's 336 different possible mod combinations, so normally that will be very challenging to figure out, but there is an easier way to do it. After an adversary is created, they will create different nodes of influences on different planets. They normally start on the lowest level planet of their faction, and every time that they level up, they'll go to a planet with increase in difficulty. Here's a list of the planet that your Sister of Parvos would go to, and here's a list of the planet that your Kuva Lich will go to. You can also find this list on the wiki if you want to view it there. What happens in these nodes of influence is slightly different for if you're doing a Kuva Lich or a Sister of Parvos. For the Kuva Lich, whenever you enter one of their nodes of influence, there'll be marked enemies on the maps called Trolls, and whenever you down them and mercy them, you'll receive something that's called Murmurs. Murmurs will fill progress bars that when filled will reveal one of the 3 Requiem mods that are needed to kill your adversary. Murmurs only reveal which Requiem mods are part of the sequence and not their location in the sequence. To know the order that they go in, you have to figure that out through trial and error or by just guessing. Kuva Thralls spawn about every 20 seconds in Kuva Lich nodes of influence, and they normally spawn in large groups of enemies, so mission types that have more enemies are more likely to spawn Kuva Thralls. In Sisters of Parvos nodes of influence, instead of Kuva Thralls, they spawn Hounds, which are unique enemies that also give Murmurs similar to Thralls. Hounds spawn less frequently than Thralls, but in exchange they give more Murmur progress than Thralls do. When you kill Hounds and Thralls, in addition to giving Murmur progress towards unlocking the next known Requiem mod, they also increase the rage meter of your adversary. The higher the rage meter, the more likely your adversary is to spawn into the mission to challenge you. When a Sister of Parvos spawns into the mission, they'll always have a Hound accompanying them, and when a Kuva Lich spawns into the mission, they can convert nearby enemies into Thralls. You can use these enemies to get additional progress into unlocking the known Requiem mods. When an adversary spawns, you'll notice that their health bar is segmented into 3 different sections. Every time they deplete one of these sections, you'll have a chance to stab them with your Parazon mod, and test your current combination of Requiem mods to see if they work or not. If they work, you'll be able to proceed to the next segment of their health bar, and if it doesn't work, then they'll level up and flee the mission. Like I showed in the table earlier, every time that they level up, they'll go to a new planet where they have new nodes of influence. After you complete a node of influence, your adversary will take a portion of your rewards as a tax. In the case of Kuva Lich, they take about anything that you have, but Sisters of Parvos only take credits because money. Completing these nodes will also remove your adversary's influence, and if you complete all the available nodes, your adversary will automatically rank up and create new nodes in the next planet in the sequence from earlier. To find the correct Requiem mod sequence to kill your Lich, you have to do more nodes of influence to unlock more known Requiem mods, and you have to keep challenging your Lich to see which mod belongs in which position. It's always best to do nodes of influence co-op because it makes a mission overall faster, and you get Murmurs every time the teammate attempts to test their Requiem mods on a Lich, even if they fail. You'll also get all the previously gathered Murmurs from that mission if you join a mission that's already in progress. After you successfully guess the correct Requiem mod sequence, it'll take 1 use off of each of the Requiem mods. Oh yeah, they have 3 uses by the way, in case I didn't mention that before. And then your adversary will flee to a Railjack mission. For the Sisters of Parvos, they will flee to Neptune, and for the Kuva Liches, they will flee to Saturn. This is the main reason for some of the prerequisites that I mentioned earlier. From here, you just need to head to the Railjack navigation and enter the confrontation mission, and that'll either place you in your own Railjack or someone else's Railjack. The good thing about the confrontation mission is that your adversary and your teammates' adversaries will all spawn on the same ship, so it's almost always better to do it with a team. The way the confrontation mission works is first you have to do some Railjack stuff, like you have to destroy a few cruise ships, or you have to destroy fighters or security nodes, and then after that you and your entire team need to enter the ship, and from there it's like you just fight one adversary after another until each player has completed their adversary. After you've downed your adversary for the final time, you'll have two options. You'll have either the option to vanquish or convert. Vanquishing the enemy kills them and it gives you their weapon and their ephemera, and their hound in the case of the Sisters of Parvos. And converting turns them into allies that can aid you in missions, or can join your Railjack crew, or you can also sell them. Yeah, you can sell your sister in Warframe. After defeating your adversary, they have a 25% chance to drop a Requiem Ultimatum, which is a gear item that you can use to lure your adversary out of hiding, so that you can challenge them and test your Requiem mods in them. You'll also recover all the stuff that they stole from you earlier. After you leave the mission, you'll receive a message in your inbox with the rewards that you got, and if it's a weapon or a hound, you can claim it in your foundry, and ephemeras will just automatically be in your appearance menu. And yeah, I guess that's all you need to know. The only thing I think I'm forgetting is that they have a lot of damage reduction, so it's going to take a bit of work to beat them, so that's another reason why being in a group is good. But yeah, besides that, that's everything you need to know of how to complete your adversary. If you don't like the video and subscribe to the channel, then your sister is going to get stuck in a washing machine.